Trevor Newfer here with a little rider review of the new Specialized Turbo Kenevo. It's sporting a Bros motor, one of the best in the biz from my standpoint. I'm coming off a first gen Turbo Levo, and I've got some impressive feedback on this new Kenevo and the motor improvements and some other things going on. Today we're riding in Burns, which is just south of Steamboat in Colorado. It's an OHV BLM land riding spot that I frequent on a regular basis on my own moto. First time I've ever ridden a mountain bike out in this area. Wanted to give you a little bit of climbing experience on this. So the system, I would say, is a more organic feel than it has been in the past. Do a little trail maintenance while you're out there. It's always important. Meaning that the engagement is more natural feeling. It is a softer engagement. It doesn't come on as sudden or as abrupt. And same with the disengagement. It's a very natural feeling ride compared to the previous one, which was already what I think is the best in the business. Climbing, this is a pretty steep pitch. On the new bike, you actually have a map switch, a control switch to switch through the 3 different modes on the bike. I found that I used it on a regular basis and actually made more use of it than I thought I would. It was actually very useful. You find a steep climb, like this ridge I'm on right now. It actually has a few ups, steep ones, and the switch on hand was really useful. You could leave it in trail mode, which isn't as much support or as much assist as you normally would have in turbo. And then if you found yourself in a steep climb, you needed that extra assistance, you could, like this right here, you could bump into turbo and get that extra bit of assistance. But even with that, you can see that the climbing ability is not anything like a dirt bike going up the hill here. The dropper post works really well. It has a little tilt kickback feature, which is new for this year. I found it to be very useful for like these descents that we're on right now, and it allowed the bike to kind of take a more downhill oriented attitude, and orient your seat the way you would position it on an actual downhill bike. Now, being moto trail, it had a lot of whoops. It's pretty loose and sandy in here. These 2.8 tires, usually on a mountain bike, I wouldn't be that big of a fan of riding here because it is so loose. But these 2.8 tires give you the flotation and support in this terrain, and actually found it to offer a lot more traction and a lot more support than I thought it would have. Now you've got a bunch of these acceleration and braking bumps from where the motos are coming through here, and on the dirt bike you tend to just plow and bash into these things like this right here. And on the Turbo Kenevo, it was really cool how you could double some of these, you could pull manual some of them and really play with them instead of being somewhat of an annoying feature on the trail on the dirt bike. It actually was very fun to play with. One thing I'd like to mention is that with this bike being pedal assist, you're only getting that assistance when you are pedaling, and that's only if you're under 20 miles an hour. Coming into some steeper descents here, into a sand wash, so that is really loose soil. This is a cool little section. It's got a little step down rock, a lot of fun. Here's a sample of the 2.8 tires. Found the direction changing to be better than the 3.0s that were on the Turbo Levo originally. A little more support there. You can direction change, flick the bike around on the trail a bit easier. And that's one thing I like to mention too, is a lot of people, first thing you notice is the weight of the bike, because everyone wants to pick it up and see how heavy it is. And yes, it is a heavy bike. Like normally without an assist platform on this bike, just built up the way it is with 180 mil travel and aluminum frame and the stock Grupo package on it, I would say this bike would weigh 35 pounds plus. And with the motor assist system, I haven't weighed it yet, usually about 10 to 15 pounds heavier with that. So I'm guessing 45 to 50 pounds, probably closer to the 50 pound range for the weight of this bike. But with that added weight, you also get a lot of stability. You hit a little rock, you hit a root that normally would deflect a 20-some pound bike. This holds its line. It's very confidence inspiring. And with the assist motor, of course, on the climbs, uh, you're not noticing the weight as much. But it's still very flickable, easier to manual. The geos on this are very similar to a normal enduro, I would say. This is one feature I wanted to highlight. We've got a walk mode on the mode switch on the handlebar, and this is to assist you while you're pushing the bike up the hill on a section that is too steep to climb. In this spot, I'm actually putting some weight down on the rear seat to drive traction to the rear wheel. As you can see, the crank's turning, helping me get the bike to the top of the hill. Some friendly dirt bikers here. They're probably wondering what the heck I was doing, as you don't see many mountain bikers out here. So this was actually kind of cool. I found a nice step down over a rock. One of the unique features I found this to help with, it was an uphill lie. And with that assist motor, I was able to get up to speed quicker and with more traction, actually, because it kind of fills the gap with your downstroke and gives you a smooth acceleration without any wheel spin, which is pretty cool because it's not just your downstrokes that are accelerating you, it actually fills the gap between. It allowed me to really kind of see these trails in from a different point of view, because the climbs obviously weren't as fast as what I would take it on my moto, but it allowed me to see things, and I spotted a few different lines out there, and it really was fun to kind of exploit those with this bike. So a really cool ridge descent here, a lot of fun. This is one I wasn't able to climb all the way to the top with, but most of the way. And with this bike, it's pretty cool. You can access this terrain more easily and more frequently. You can do multiple laps on this. Really enjoy it. Have a lot of fun, and still be fresh for these descents, and get a lot more vertical in. So coming down to the bottom here, pretty sandy, pretty loose. 2.8 tires here, offering more traction than I thought. A lot of fun. A little free ride zone. This is kind of an open terrain area, so there aren't really any designated trails. You can have some fun just kind of free riding out in this zone. One thing I also like to mention is the shifting system. You have one shift at a time, so you can't just ratchet through a bunch of gears on an upshift or a downshift. It helps with not overwhelming the drivetrain when you have constant load on it. Here's a cool step down feature. I didn't think I was going to do at first when I started my day, but after riding the bike for a while, it gave me the confidence to go for it. Pretty flat landing, but the 180 mil travel just really handled it well. Super impressed with this bike. It's incredibly fun to ride. I think it's a perfect application for pedal assist. Hope you enjoy this review as much as I'm enjoying this bike.